Tuesday through Friday from 5 to 7 p.m. and Saturday from 9 to 10. Titlo's is also booking private parties. Call them today, 724-437-6749, or order online.
My name is Patrick Mahoney, and I'm running for South Union Township Supervisor for one reason: to serve our community, not to profit from it. As a lifelong resident, a local business owner, and a volunteer, I understand the everyday challenges that we face in our township. I believe public office is a public trust. As Township Supervisor, I will fight for open, honest government, responsible spending, and decisions that put people, not my personal business interests, first. On November 4th, vote for me, Patrick Mahoney, for South Union Township Supervisor.
Paid for by friends of Patrick Mahoney.
Teamster Local 491 in Uniontown reminds you, in times of war and peace, the men and women of our military dedicate themselves to serving our country. Their commitment, patriotism, sacrifice, and courage keep our country safe and strong. We appreciate the bravery of our U.S. soldiers. Let us honor those who have lost their lives in the line of duty. This from Teamster Local 491 in Uniontown. Leaders in our community. Vito and the team are proud to have the military as part of the Teamster family.
Hi, this is Dave Dunaway, and I'm here to remind you that Franco's Golf Center is open 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. Stop by and see Franco's facility on Route 21 west of Uniontown. Franco's service area includes a lighted driving range and golf pro shop. Even my game has improved thanks to golf lessons with Franco's PGA instructors. Franco's also offers full custom club fitting and repairs by certified club fitter Greg Franco. Franco's is open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Give Franco's a call at 724-438-6651.
If you're ready for a dental makeover or in need of basic dental care, the office of Dr. Mark Rabatin is right for you. Dr. Rabatin uses the latest advancement in the industry to achieve comprehensive care that will preserve your smile for years to come by providing general dentistry services. Call today to schedule your appointment at their modern office located in the Fayette Business Park, 724-437-4991 for the fine art of dentistry.
Your local station, 590 WMBS. I hear voices in my head.
Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm your host, the voice of reason, Dave Dunaway. It's Thursday, October 23rd, 2025, and you're listening to The Sports Voice. The Pittsburgh Steelers this Sunday night going to try to avenge one of the most embarrassing losses in recent time on national TV. Thursday Night Football against Joe Flacco. Not that it should have been a surprise, because Tomlin worries about this endlessly, these times where he has to play Joe Flacco. I'm surprised he didn't stick his hand up Omar Khan's back and get him to somehow trade for Joe Flacco, just so he doesn't have to play against him anymore. Flacco was not a sought-after option. Flacco was in Cleveland, ends up going to Cincinnati only because starting quarterback Joe Burrow is sidelined for months. It's not a choice that was made by Cincinnati. It was a necessity. The Steelers made a choice when they pressured and pursued their over 40-year-old quarterback all summer, to the point where Aaron Rodgers tried to get a job with Minnesota, teetered with retirement for a little while, but eventually decided, well, there's nothing else really out there. I guess I'll come be a Pittsburgh Steeler and throw to one receiver and maybe a tight end if we can get the starter out there and don't have to keep the backups out there to block, because my 5 offensive linemen can't protect me ever in a football game. So the Steelers, with their outdated approach, get embarrassed yet again. And when you look at the money trail for the Pittsburgh Steelers, most of it leads to the defense, who gave up 33 points and over 300 passing yards to 40-year-old Joe Flacco. The greatest stat of the night was the fact that not only was Cincinnati the lowest rushing team in the National Football League going into that game, averaging 56 yards a game, the lowest in the league by 30, but the longest run from scrimmage all season for the Bengals was 13 yards. Joe Flacco had a rush for 13 yards in that game. That should tell you all that you need to know about the outdated approach of this professional football team. But nobody seems to mind. Nobody seems to care. I didn't hear much all week about the ownership, the front office, the coaching staff, even the players themselves. How many times do you have to watch your $41 million man not being able to get around one offensive lineman? Remember the days when there were 2 and 3 trying to stop him? Now they just throw one out there and he can't get past them. The 2 out of every 5 plays, he's actually out there on the field. I mean, this is what you see from the Pittsburgh Steelers play after play after play. This phenomenal secondary. They said, you know what, at the beginning of the season, we thought we're just going to take Jalen Ramsey. We're going to just move him around the field. Then we realized he's such a good cover guy, we can just put him out there one-on-one. How about go ask Jamar Chase what a great cover guy Jalen Ramsey was last week? And I get it. I said before I left here, I believe Jamar Chase is the best wide receiver in football. I used to say it was Justin Jefferson. Now I fully believe it's Jamar Chase. If you know you're playing number one, why wouldn't you throw a little help over there? And of course, Mr. Hands, Joey Porter, the all-hands team guy, couldn't keep his hands off anyone and then can't understand why it's a penalty in today's National Football League. It's the same old story. If it was the 1970s, we might be talking about this team going to a Super Bowl. But unfortunately, it's the 2020s, and nobody but them plays this style of football anymore. The last remaining hope to do it was Bill Belichick when he was coaching New England. By the way, he coached that way when it mattered and won a bunch of Super Bowls as a result. Now you've got New England at 5-2, looking a whole lot better than the Pittsburgh Steelers. I told you when that game ended, that game was handed to them on the ground with fumbles and turnovers. Now you look at a Pittsburgh Steelers team as they're getting into this heart of the schedule. They're lucky to be where they are. Don't be surprised if a big losing streak doesn't ensue. But I know what all the locals are saying. This is what we see every year. They lose to a team they shouldn't, like Cincinnati, but they'll also beat a team they shouldn't, like Green Bay this week. If you want to go off of that logic, more power to you. I'll believe it when I see it. Usually the win comes before the loss. The loss has already occurred. I can't imagine I'm going to be shocked and awed when somehow, some way, Pittsburgh beats Green Bay. But hey, it's Sunday Night Football. Tomlin is great at Sunday Night Football. Green Bay lost to Cleveland. Green Bay doesn't have the team offensively that everyone thought they were going to have at the beginning of the year. They don't need that team to beat this defense. I can see Josh Jacobs and potentially Jordan Love running all over them, just like we've seen every other team in the league do thus far this year. They might not have to even worry about resorting to throwing the ball. But hey, Aaron Rodgers says it's not a revenge game. That was actually laughable. That might be the funniest thing I've heard all week, because if you look back to how that relationship ended, it didn't end well. And it was because of head coach Matt LaFleur, who wanted to modernize an offense that Aaron Rodgers wanted to keep in the past. So to me, when you look at what he did in Green Bay, throwing to one receiver exclusively, Devontae Adams, which is what he has here in Pittsburgh, in DK Metcalf, this is the ideal situation for Aaron Rodgers. It's like going into a snow globe and never being able to escape. You can still run those offenses that you ran when you were young, and this is the only team in the league that'll actually allow you to do it. Pittsburgh, what are they? Mediocre at best. Can they make the playoffs? Maybe. Can they win their division? Maybe. Will they win a game when they get into the playoffs? Probably not. And hopefully you've been able to see after the first few weeks of this season that nothing really has changed. As I went through last week, I can do it again this week. Last year, they had an over-the-hill quarterback. This year, they have an over-the-hill quarterback. Last year, they had a running back by committee that never really got established. This year, they have a running back by committee that really hasn't gotten established. Last year, they had one receiver. This year, they have one receiver. Last year, they rarely used the tight end. This year, they rarely used the tight end. Last year, they had an offensive line that couldn't block substantially for the quarterback, so much so that they had to bring in extra linemen. This year, same thing. Last year, they had an old, overpaid defense that couldn't stop anyone. This year, they have an old, overpaid defense that can't stop anyone. Please, someone, tell me how it's different. We will see this Sunday whether or not what you think is the normal trend actually happens. Will Green Bay be the team they beat that they shouldn't beat, or did that already happen? Potentially, was that the New England Patriots, and will we see a string of losses that happen from here on out? Nick Barczyk is here with me in studio. A very disappointing Thursday night football for so many people. I felt like Nostradamus. I'm watching the game, and I'm saying to myself, I just told you 4 hours ago exactly how this was going to happen, and it happened almost identically, except the end. I thought they would lose by 3 because they would pass up the chance at a touchdown, parade Boswell out, who would somehow have some PTSD thinking he was still at Acrisure and slip on the turf trying to kick that game-winning or that game-tying field goal. But in the end, they lose by 2, and they don't even have a chance at the end, really, to do anything with it. Nick, a lot of disappointment in there. You hear everybody break it down all week with, this would have happened, if Freiermuth would have fallen down. Why would Freiermuth fall down with almost 2 minutes left and you need a touchdown? If you need a field goal, I could see him falling down. That makes no sense whatsoever. Those people shouldn't be allowed to watch football the rest of their lives, everyone that said that. A lot to go back and pick apart. Where is the biggest issue right now with this Pittsburgh Steelers football team?
Oh, it's definitely the defense. It's washed, it's old, it's overpaid, and we said off the air you don't pay a defensive player as much as they gave TJ Watt. What's Micah done in Green Bay? I mean, I don't know. Not much. So that's the issue. When you score 31 points, you should be able to win most games. Rodgers has been their best guy. I think they're MVP. They won despite his good play, and the losses aren't his fault necessarily. It's that defense, Dave. And you outlined the other issues with everything being the same as last year. But, Dave, they're fine with that because last year, what were they?
Above the mean.
And they had a winning record, and they went to the playoffs. Doesn't matter they didn't win a game or come close to the AFC title game or Super Bowl. That's not the Steeler organization priority anymore. It's just not. So I think they're happy with us. 4-2, and you're at home the next 2 weeks. So it should be 6-2. 2 more Renegades. They never lose when that plays.
I'm going to take what you just said, and I'm going to expand on what the biggest problem is for this team. And I think it's bigger than the defense. I think that to even assume in today's NFL that the defense is going to win you a championship is just absolutely absurd. Yeah. The league revolves around offense. You look at all the rule changes that they've made in recent time to almost make the defense irrelevant. There's no reason to spend all this money on defensive players. Most of them aren't allowed to do half of the stuff they were able to do 20 years ago anyways. And you make a good point with Micah Parsons. I would rather be the Dallas Cowboys at this point because you could look and say, they should have kept him. He's one of the best defensive players in the league. Without him, they're going to give up 30-some points a game. Yeah, and they're going to score 40 points a game. I would take that trade-off at this point. If you have a team that can put up points, you always have a chance to win. If you're going to rely on your defense and you have an offense that can't score more than 20-some a game, you're probably always going to have a chance to lose. You need to score points. And to have a philosophy that doesn't revolve around that is the biggest problem on this team. The biggest problem on this team stands on the sidelines with a headset on, goes into a press conference after the game, usually talking about the responsibility he's going to take, but then doesn't change a thing when the next game rolls around. It's a stubborn, outdated approach that is basically tolerated by the entire organization, who he basically has under his thumb because he's running the whole show. Until they change the coach on this team, the culture, the performance, and the mediocrity will stay the same. There's no reason to change anything. He has carte blanche over everything that goes on within that organization. He picks the players, he picks the coaches, he picks the system, he picks the scheme, he picks it all. There's no one that challenges him for anything that gets done on that football field. He could go out and lay the biggest egg of his life, and you won't hear anything negative, because if the media says something negative, he'll deny you access to his players and kick you out of his press conference, and the organization won't say a word because they're so convinced they can't find anybody better if for some reason he would walk away and leave, because they're never going to get rid of him. No matter how much they might try to tease you from time to time that they're thinking about it, they're never going to get rid of him. Mike Tomlin has overstayed his welcome. That probably happened 8 years ago. But regardless of the fact, when you look at this team and you look at the money spent by this organization, the players that they're spending should be absolute superstars, and they're not. Yeah, they're old, so you could question why they would pay old guys money. Well, because they don't have any young guys to pay. That's why they pay all these old guys money, but they don't perform. TJ Watt makes $41 million a year. At one point, he was the highest paid defensive player in the entire National Football League, and he can't beat a single offensive lineman to put pressure on a quarterback 9 times out of 10. And he's not on the field most of the time. Go through and look at the number of plays that he was on the sidelines, because they showed him there on the sidelines, plays that you think would be big money plays for someone that makes that kind of cash. But they had Herbig in instead of him. Why? Well, at this point, Herbig's probably a little bit better, but in the end, this is the guy you're paying. Highsmith's been worse on the other side, and he makes almost just as much. You take this money, you give it to the side of the football that just doesn't make a difference anymore in today's NFL, and you look at the other side that's supposed to make a difference. You've got one receiver. On the other side, you've got Scotty Miller, Ben Skoranek, who knows who you're throwing out there, a bunch of special teamers that you're never going to target. And yeah, we saw some great stuff out of Pat Freiermuth, but he wasn't even on the field for the entire first half because Washington was out there as the 7th lineman with Anderson as the 6th lineman, because the 5 you put out there can't protect Aaron Rodgers. They don't even pretend like that's an issue. It's a non-factor, because in the end, they're going to win the division because it's been handed to them by injuries. And they're going to have a home playoff game, which they might. If they win that division, they will. But will they actually win that home playoff game?
Dave, see, they made an adjustment. Didn't have Freiermuth in the first half, used him well in the second half. There's an adjustment by somebody on that staff. I'm not sure if it was the head coach or either
Arthur Smith got a ton of credit. Do we think he did it? I think Rodgers did it myself.
Sure. Yeah, Arthur Smith's getting all the credit because the national media hates Rodgers for certain reasons, maybe the reasons you don't like him, Dave. But yeah, I think he made that adjustment. He has that authority and that ability, and I think that aura about him. Maybe that's too strong a word, but yeah, good to see Freiermuth with a touchdown. And again, the offense is not the issue. I was happy
to see him on the field.
Yeah, he was out there. And the offense is not the issue, obviously. When you score 31, you should win most games. But yeah, lack of adjustments coupled with an overpaid Wash defense. You should not lose to a division rival when you're putting up 31. Not when you're playing Joe Flacco and a defense that without Hendrickson is like NCAA level.
You're playing a team that's on its last leg.
Yeah.
They had Joe Burrow. He gets hurt. They bring in Jake Browning. The team just goes in a free fall. Ugh. They trade for Joe Flacco, and then Tomlin spends 2 weeks criticizing this move because he's worried about playing a 40-year-old. Now, I could see why, because look how hard he pursued a 41-year-old all summer. So I could see why he's nervous. No other coach in the league would be concerned at all. They'd be licking their chops at an immobile 40-year-old who has struggled at best in Cleveland. Look at at how many turnovers he had, whether it was an interception or a fumble when he got sacked. There's nobody concerned about this guy except Mike Tomlin. He was embarrassed by him, was it last year or the year before in Indianapolis? And for all the years he played in Baltimore, Tomlin couldn't figure him out. Why? I don't know. Is he that innovative? Is he that modern that Tomlin can't develop a game plan to beat this guy? But it wasn't just Flacco and Chase that beat them. Look at the running game of Cincinnati. I talked about Flacco having the 13-yard run, which was phenomenal in its own right. But look at Chase Brown. Chase Brown was able to get nothing going on the ground. 13 yards was the most he had on a carry all year. As far as being a 100-yard rusher, that didn't happen. The team averaged 56 a game, and Brown rushes for well over 100. That's how bad this defense is up the middle. Maybe because the inside linebackers who are supposed to stop this run are out covering tight ends and slot receivers because the secondary can't seem to get them wrapped up. Maybe it's just because there's no pressure. But I can't imagine an offensive line that allowed their star quarterback to get hurt for 3 months with all of the negative publicity they got from it. I can't believe that offensive line blocked so well for an immobile Joe Flacco that this vaunted Pittsburgh Steelers defense, who gets paid like they're elite, who gets paid like they're the best in the league, that they couldn't bust through that line and sack or put pressure on Joe Flacco or stop a running game that was non-existent that all of a sudden busted out for almost 200 yards. That elite defense couldn't stop that. That should tell anyone who still thinks it's 1980 why money should not be spent on defense. Spend the money on offense. No matter what you put out there on defense, you're going to give up a lot of points. Every other team besides Pittsburgh is designed to score 20 to 30 points a game. You're going to give them up no matter who's out there. Spend some money on offense so that you can score enough every once in a while to overcome the shortcomings of your old, overpaid defense.
Well, I think they want to outsmart the league. They're saying, well, the rest of the league has gone this way, but we'll try to win this way. And that'd be wonderful if it worked, but that's not the case.
Oh, they've done great with that in the playoffs the last 8 years.
Absolutely, yes. Losing to Blake Bortles and Tim Tebow. It'd be one thing if they were losing to Brady and Peyton Manning and Mahomes and Allen. They have lost to Mahomes and Allen, of course, as well. But, I mean, some of the losses are just dreadful because you can't work a system. You can't outsmart a system that's in place for pretty much the rest of the league and then you can win doing the exact opposite. Maybe you can stumble into some regular season wins, but not, a 1 seed and not getting a playoff game that you can win. So, yeah, I mean, it works against bad teams. Maybe not because they just lost to a bad team, but they got 2 good teams coming to Acrisure, so good luck with that.
Yeah, and I know what most people are thinking as far as these go because you're looking at track records, you're looking for patterns, you're looking for the way things normally happen for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So you lose to someone you should beat, then the next week you beat someone you should lose to. So most people aren't worried or concerned because they feel this one's in the bag against Green Bay. And even better yet, when you look into this game, there's a history there. Aaron Rodgers was drafted by Green Bay. He played most of his career in Green Bay. He won a Super Bowl against the Steelers for Green Bay. So there's a ton of storyline that goes along with this game. So, of course, the media up in Rodgers' face yesterday asking him about whether or not this is a revenge game because everything we've heard from all sources is that relationship between Rodgers, Matt LaFleur, and the Packers did not end well. Now, the rumor has it that Matt LaFleur, when he was hired, young, innovative offensive mind, wanted to modernize the Green Bay offense. It was not stagnant, but Rodgers was there with Davante Adams. That was usually his only target. Every once in a while, he'd throw a ball to Randall Cobb and Jordy Nelson for a period of time. So there were guys that he liked that had been in and out of that system. Alan Lazard is a name we heard quite a bit, people thinking maybe he would be a Pittsburgh Steeler at some point this season. So Rodgers had his way of doing things. And LaFleur comes in and totally overhauls it and said, we're going to run some motion. We're going to have guys running in front of the quarterback. We're going to try to throw off the defense and keep them guessing. And Rodgers wanted no part of that. Rodgers didn't want a modern offense. He wanted to do things the way he had always done them. He had been in the league for years. He knew he was a future first ballot Hall of Famer. things were going to be his way. He was winning the way he was doing things. He wanted to continue to do things that way. He wanted to continue to win. He was not interested in change. So he left. And whether Green Bay got rid of him or he walked away on his own, any way you look at it, they parted ways. Goes to New York, doesn't like what they're doing, ends up getting the coach fired. Things don't get any better, ends up being let go from his contract with the Jets, comes to Pittsburgh. Not willingly at first. It took a while. He was talking to other teams, primarily Minnesota, to see what they wanted to do. Talked about potential retirement options for himself. And then at the end, when his ego got to him and became just as big as it normally is, he said, nope, I got to stay in the news. I want to play football another year. I'm going to sign with the Steelers, literally, because nobody else wants me. So there he is in Pittsburgh, and he looks okay. You know, Nick and I talked off air. He's the least of their problems at this point. Maybe a bigger problem where nobody can block for him. But in the end, when you look at him and his skill set and what he's been able to accomplish, I would say already head and shoulders over whatever Russell Wilson or Justin Fields was able to accomplish last year, whatever Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, and Mitchell Mitch were able to accomplish the last few years before that. And even at the tail end of Ben's career, he got real old real fast. Now, I'm not saying Rodgers is Tom Brady. He's not moving around and throwing the ball like he's in his 20s, but he's still capable and competent, able to throw the ball downfield. I'm not looking at Rodgers as the biggest issue, but when you have an immobile quarterback and an inexperienced offensive line, that's an issue. And now you've got to bring in 6-7 linemen to block because you know Rodgers can't move and you don't want to get him annihilated back there. Now you take away weapons. And there aren't that many weapons anyways, but I think you saw at the tail end of the Cincinnati game what potentially could happen if Pat Freiermuth was in all the time. Not a tight end to block, a tight end to actually go out and be another pass-catching weapon. Calvin Austin III, the fastest guy in the history of football. He supposedly is going to play this week. So you get your number 2 receiver back. But then I started asking, where was Roman Wilson? We saw a couple of throws to Wilson. We saw a couple of catches. But that's all. We didn't see anything else thrown his way. But then you look on the field and there's Scotty Miller and there's Ben Skoranek. What are you going to do with those guys? Those are special teamers. Why are they out there taking snaps? I'm sure because of their blocking ability. But when you're concerned that you need to put wide receivers out in 2025 to block, that's a problem. These are pass catchers. These are receivers. Not saying that they can't block. I'm sure CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens block all the time, but they also have 6, 7, 8 catches a game as well. They're not throwing the ball really ever at a secondary target. They're trying to hit Metcalf, and then they're trying to run the ball constantly. And Warren had a decent game. Gainwell had a good game over in Dublin. Like, you'll see that from time to time. But as I pointed out last week, and I'll say it again, all that does is kill clock. That might be a huge advantage if you can run the ball when you're ahead in a game. It's a huge detriment when you're down, because even if you do manage to run the course of the field and score, how many minutes have you taken off the clock to do that? You could throw 2 passes in 30 seconds and accomplish the same thing if you decide to modernize your offense and actually use the air, which we know Mike Tomlin will not do, especially in a big game, apparently, regardless of who his quarterback is, even if it's Ben Roethlisberger or Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, exactly. They won't adjust for anything. And you're right. I mean, there are issues with the offense, but I think they're minuscule compared to the organizational outlook and the defense. And again, I go back to it. You score 31 points. That should be enough to beat a bad team. Rodgers has been their MVP, like him or not. And I think any success on offense, you can't attribute even to Arthur Smith or, of course, not Mike Tomlin, who has no feel for offense. It's him. And he's going to come in and do what he wants. And you're right. I mean, I guess they slightly made an adjustment with Freiermuth in the second half. He was barely out there, then he plays. So I guess that's a sign of encouragement. Calvin Austin is back, another weapon on offense this week. So, yeah, you have 2 tough teams coming in, but they usually, frankly, play better against the good teams outside of losing to the Bengals. So we'll see. I think they could split these next 2, but you know, they should have won last week because Lamar's back, Dave, and the Ravens could go on a run.
I agree. And it's interesting that you say, well, if you score 31 points, you should win. And in most cases, you would say, yeah, like you look at a team like Dallas, they could score 31 points and lose very easily.
Yes,
but when
true.
you have a defense paid the way Pittsburgh's defense is
ridiculous.
paid, and you go out and portray them as being this elite system, then 31 points should be a blowout win for you if you score that many. And how many times have we seen it result in a loss? The money is spent irrationally. The philosophy is outdated. The head coach is too stubborn to make decisions and too afraid to coach differently. He talks all this about living in his fears. He does it week in and week out, especially if it's against a team that he has some notion that he might lose to, like that the concern over Joe Flacco that he seems to have every time he faces him. I mean, this is an organization, quite honestly, that's going nowhere. And you could go out and wear your black and gold stuff because of the past, because of all the names you can quote from teams long gone by. But in the end, if you really want to look at the future and see hope for what's yet to come, you certainly can't see it with what's out there on the field right now. Not only are these guys underperforming, but there are no young players giving you hope that it's ever going to get any better. What young receiver has stepped up? What young running back has stepped up? Here's a good one. Aaron Rodgers is 41 and continues to say this is going to be his last year, even though there's some speculation now that maybe he'll come back next year. What young quarterback is being groomed to take his place? Will Howard.
Will Howard.
I mean,
he had his first practice this week.
Yeah, he finally practiced, right? I mean, and he's a fifth-round pick that has no shot at playing in the NFL. No. He was on 3 college teams in his 6-year career. So, when you look at what they're building, there's nothing there. They're looking to go out on the free agent wire. Once they get these contracts off for everybody that's going to retire, they'll go bring in their next group that's ready to retire within a year or two. I'll bet Kirk Cousins is there next year. It's going to be another scrap heap quarterback that's going to come in who at one point was really good and now is just too old to do anything, and they'll just keep recycling and recycling and recycling because the drafts are horrible, the development is worse, Tomlin is basically in control of all of it, and there's nothing out there for a second that should convince anyone that this team's going to get any better.
No,
until they fire the coach, Nick.
Well,
that's the only time that's the only way it's going to change.
They don't fire the coach because unlike their offensive philosophy, which is from 1968, they don't want to go back to 1968 and fire the coach because that's the last time they did it. They're a proud organization, Dave, that takes a pride in the fact that they've only had 3 ways of thinking in almost 60 years. Isn't that a weird thing to brag about?
They love it.
Only 3 ways of thinking about football in 60 years. And the first one was really good. The second one was all right. I think, frankly, a little overrated. And this last one's very overrated, but still a good coach. And you're right. He would get a job and win somewhere else, but so what?
But the generations have passed him by. He's still coaching the way that he did in 2007, which was a different NFL.
Sure.
If you want to stay around with a team for any length of time, you have to evolve. And I'm not saying John Harbaugh's gone out and won a ton of Super Bowls, but he's at least evolved based on the talent that he's gotten. The way he coached that team with Flacco at quarterback is 1,000 times different from what he does with Lamar Jackson at quarterback. You take your talent, you utilize it, you build around them. Tomlin has a system that he forces everyone to conform to. And as long as that philosophy stays, you're going to continue to have disappointment after disappointment for the next who knows how many more years he's going to stick around. He's not that old, and he knows if he goes somewhere else, there's a shelf life. There is no shelf life in Pittsburgh. He has a job for life. Why would anyone in their right mind leave it unless you know, hey, I got a couple years left. I'll go somewhere if they fire me. Who cares? Which means he'll never go. He will stay here and live in mediocrity with all of you for the duration of his career.
Do you think he should switch jobs with James Franklin? They're pretty much the same guy.
I'll give
coach.
Penn State credit, or whoever, whether it's the boosters,
Adidas.
whether it's the organization, whether it's the school, whether it's Adidas, whoever made that decision, I'll at least give them credit for moving on, for realizing, hey, we have a good coach, but we're not going anywhere with this guy. At least they realized that. Pittsburgh can't realize it. Pittsburgh needs to say, hey, we got a good coach, but we're stuck. We're in a rut. Like, we're not getting out of it, and it doesn't look like there's a plan in place to ever get out of it. Even though we know he might go somewhere else and be successful, he's not going to be successful here. We need to move on, get somebody young, somebody innovative, somebody that's going to come in and change the culture around here. But they won't do it because the ownership is just as outdated. The front office is just as outdated. Tomlin is running this entire show, and the last thing he'll ever do is fire himself. Let's take a break. When we come back, we will preview Pittsburgh, Green Bay, Sunday Night Football. I've got all the picks in for this week. Pretty good week for me last week. I was the leader. This minute and a half that I'm spending picking these games has worked wonders. I think I was 9-6 and then 10-5 or something last week. So it's been a great turnaround for me. I'm still nowhere near Josh Kryzik, but he is an attorney at law. It's hard to beat those guys. So yeah, so it's tough, but trying to build some momentum, as we all are, just to get back into the picture with this. So don't go anywhere. We'll preview the Steelers and reveal all the picks when we come back.
The UPMC Rehabilitation Institute on Wayland Smith Drive offers cutting-edge physical therapy. Jim Burns and his staff are residents of the community, treating sports injuries, neurological conditions, back pain, sprains and strains, joint replacements, hand injuries, and other conditions. They treat you efficiently and safely by taking all necessary precautions while disinfecting the clinic regularly. All insurance accepted. Experienced therapists. Convenient location and hours. Part of the community. Call the office with a prescription from your doctor or schedule by direct access 724-437-7500.
This is Dr. Alyssa Lorenz of U.S. Digestive Health in Uniontown, Pennsylvania. Common issues like difficulty with swallowing, frequent heartburn, recurrent abdominal pain, bowel habit problems, and rectal bleeding are often easily diagnosed and treated. Dr. Calabrese, Stokes, Hoppy, and I are local gastroenterologists that are here to help. For more information, call our Uniontown office at 724-437-7677.
Go to Fort Uniontown and trade me in.
John Clinton with Dominic Carbone from your 7-time President Award-winning Fort Uniontown. Dom, let's tell these people about the spooktacular offers that'll have you trembling into a new Ford.
Hey, John, listen to these spine-tingling deals that are taking up to $6,000 off MSRP 2025 F-150 XL and XLT models and rates that are straight scary. How about 2.9 for 60 months, 3.9 for 72, and only 4.9 for 84? And listen, you get the savings and the rates. And that's not just a bunch of hocus pocus.
Dom, we are hosting our annual trunk retreat on October 23rd from 5:30 to 7:30 right here on the hill with our friends from Premier Nissan. So creep on in and join us with DJ Ray. Hunt Chef will be here with some ghoulish grub, and High Gear Coffee will have some coffee and treats. So bring the kids out and stop on in. The Pumpkin King knows, shouldn't you? That's 40 Uniontown on the hill across from Applebee's, or check us out at 40uniontown.com. Offers include all applicable incentives, must finance with Ford Motor Credit, not all buyers will qualify. Sale ends October 31st.
Zen's Antiques and Home Decor, part of the Cinder Shack family of vendors, where you can find both antique and new furniture, collectibles, housewares, gift items, including jewelry and candles, and so much more. Follow Zen's Antiques and Home Decor on Facebook for new items and information on upcoming events. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor in Building 2 at 3391 National Pike in Farmington. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor.
I've been thinking about switching primary care providers. It takes forever to get an appointment, and when I finally get in, the staff acts like they don't even care that I'm there.
That's so frustrating. You deserve a provider who listens, values your time, and truly cares about your health.
That's exactly what I need. Someone who sees me as a person, not just another name on a chart.
Then you should check out Montgomery Medical. They treat you like family, offer personalized care, and even have same-day appointments.
At Montgomery Medical, your health is our priority. Call 724-569-8100 Montgomery Medical, a family tradition of family medicine.
Ready to score big on your next home? Well, great news. Huge savings are waiting for you at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. From open floor plans perfect for game day parties to energy-efficient homes that will help you save money all season long, these homes are built to deliver. Don't wait on the sidelines. Make the winning play today and find the home that fits your family and lifestyle. Visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon at 4500 Route 51.
Mountaintop Title and Notary can handle all of your motor vehicle and PennDOT needs, such as titles, plates, renewal, registrations, and all notary needs. Tina Nicholson of Mountaintop Title and Notary can also handle ATV and boat titles, and also does income taxes. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30, and appointments can be made for after hours and Saturdays. Mountaintop Title and Notary with a new location at 655 Nelson Road in Farmington, the only place you need to go for all title, notary, and tax work. Call Tina at 724-984-1514 for the most professional services around.
Welcome back to the Sports Voice. We are looking ahead. Sunday Night Football, Pittsburgh Steelers, Green Bay Packers. The game is at Acrisure Stadium. and Aaron Rodgers gets an opportunity to go against his old team. When Rodgers gets inducted into the Hall of Fame, he will get inducted as a Green Bay Packer. So don't fool yourself, Steeler fans. He can lie to you all he wants and tell you how much he loves it here. But in the end, he's a Green Bay Packer. They're the team that drafted him. He won a Super Bowl with them. And most of those numbers that he's put up through his career have been put up in Green Bay. A lot of talk yesterday, Nick, about whether or not this is a revenge game for him. How angry is he by the fact that he's no longer a Packer? And we don't know for sure how that ended, whether the Packers made that decision or Rodgers made that decision, or it was a mutual decision between the two. We know there's animosity there. We've detected it in comments that have been made by Rodgers ever since. He brushed it off and said that he has no animosity whatsoever toward Green Bay. This is nothing that has anything to do with a revenge game. But we know that it is. We know that that's a lie. Can that make a difference? How motivated will Rodgers be to, I guess where I'm going with this, change the ridiculous play calls that come in from Arthur Smith at the line almost every single time to make sure that he's maximizing the opportunities for this team to put up points?
Yeah, he wants to win this game. There's no question, more than most. He said when he beat the Jets, he was happy to beat everyone associated with that organization. I think he feels the same about Green Bay, though they had some wonderful years together. Yeah, he should take over. He wants to win this game. The Steelers should want to win. You'd go up 5-2. If the Ravens lose, you gain a game on them. Then you have a good Colts team coming in. So this is a game you want to win, and Rodgers wants to win. So yeah, he should usurp Arthur Smith and do what he wants. I think they're better when he has full authority. But good luck making that happen.
And I would not look past the Packers, regardless of what they did with Cleveland. They have a tie. I mean, you start looking at the team, they're very disappointing from where everyone thought they were going to be. There are people that thought the Green Bay Packers would represent the NFC in the Super Bowl if the Eagles faltered, which they kind of have.
Yeah, they're weird too.
But yet the Packers haven't really capitalized on that. They need to get some momentum, and this could be a great way to do it for them, because then they have the storyline of, we just beat one of the most prolific players in our franchise's past, in our history. Like, you look at Rodgers, he's up there with Favre, he's up there with Bart Starr. Like, you start going through that list of people, and Micah Parsons, we talked a little bit about him. He's there as their number one pass rusher. I mean, Cincinnati put pressure on Pittsburgh with no Trey Hendrickson and with a bunch of nobodies. And we laughed about that on the show, and you had said to me how bad that defense is, and I said that's the kind that gets the Steelers. I know there's nobody out there. Like, I wasn't trying in any way to say that I thought they had potential. They had nobody, but that's who the Steelers normally have trouble with. They might have Parsons all wrapped up. Like, who knows? Maybe it is the way it normally happens for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I think there's momentum definitely for Rodgers, but I think too there's a lot of motivation for Green Bay to beat him, to shut him up for a lot of the comments that he's made about them over the last couple of years as well. So looking ahead, it is at home, it is Sunday night. Tomlin normally thrives in that situation.
Yes.
Will we see a similar situation here? Will the Pittsburgh Steelers find a way to defeat the Green Bay Packers?
Dave, they usually seem to play well and even win these games at home on a Sunday night, and, they're usually slipping up against a team like the Bengals, which they did, then they bounce back in a big way. I don't know if that necessarily happens this time around. I think they could split these next two against good teams, and frankly, you'd rather win the Colts game. That's in the AFC. You could be battling them for a wild card spot. Rodgers, as much as he wants to beat Green Bay, I think they're younger, they're better. They should score more than they do. You watch Love, you watch Jacobs, and all the young receivers they have. Tucker Kraft, a great tight end. I think they come in and win. I think Green Bay will win. I'll say, oh boy, I think they can put up points. I'll say 28-17 Green Bay wins this one, David.
I'm looking at the injury report. It just came out, and there's not there is one big surprise on here. Outside of that, nothing else. We had Veterans Day for DK Metcalf, second straight day of Veterans Day for Cam Hayward and TJ Watt. Watt's got some kind of hip injury listed on there, said he was limited in practice today, which means he probably was hardly out there. It'd be like him in a game.
Yeah.
Probably 2 out of every 5 snaps he was out there at practice today. Full participation from Will Howard, Calvin Austin, Malik Harrison, limited for Scotty Miller. Oh, can only imagine if he can't get out there with a finger. The big surprise, I think, was the non-appearance with a calf injury that has come out of nowhere Well, it hasn't come out of nowhere, but he did practice earlier in the week for center Zach Frazier. Interesting that he wasn't on the field. He was a limited participant yesterday. We've seen this as the trend in the NFL this year, where someone practices early in the week. We saw that with Terry McLaurin the last couple of weeks. Doesn't show up for practice Thursday and then is out for the weekend. So I can't imagine. The line has a tough enough time blocking anyways. Frazier's one of their better guys. You take him out and have to throw a backup center in. That could even throw the Steelers even more out of the loop for that game. So just wanted to add that in. That was the one surprise that I saw. Certainly never surprised by Veterans Day.
No.
We know they're going to get that time, sometimes twice a week for these guys now.
They have to. They need
so
to
Nick
rest.
predicted the Green Bay Packers. Going through the list here of picks. You had a good week last week, too. You were like one behind me. So, and we have to do well because we pick on TV. Nobody else picks on TV. They have little sheets of paper. Here they all are. If you're watching on TV, you can see them. They hand me this sheet of paper. Nobody sits in this chair next to me. It's just Nick and I. So we're the ones that get embarrassed when we have bad weeks because everybody hears our picks. Everybody else has to go to Facebook and look and go through this spreadsheet to see if you can figure out who everyone else picked. But we have to do it live on TV. So we need to have the best weeks here. As I'm looking through, Bill Madden has taken the Steelers in this game. Green Bay's favored by 3.5. I don't know if I said that.
No.
So Bill trying to get out of last place. That might be the way to do it. Now, here's our first place guy, Josh Kryzik. He has taken the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. Everyone's bought into this. These are the games that Mike Tomlin thrives in. Brian Morozak, who always picks against the Steelers, took the Steelers this week, saying something about being in a revenge game for Rodgers, and even the fraud Mike Tomlin will get a win in this one. TJ's taken the Steelers.
Oh, my God.
So, yet again, the hometown advantage that we're seeing from all of this. Matt Sapienza's taking the Packers. So, Nick and Matt standing alone there with the Green Bay Packers, which leads it to me. And I've done pretty well with the Steelers this year. I start to look at traps and try to avoid them, and this might be the biggest trap there is. But after what happened with Joe Flacco and Chase Brown, I can't imagine there's a scenario where they can stop Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs. And if the best you're going to tell me is this is the way Tomlin normally does things, that's not enough for me. I think New England was the game they probably should have lost but won. I don't think it's this one. This is a game they should lose, and they will lose. I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers. Would you say 31-17?
Yeah, 28-17. That could boost it, though. That could sure 31.
I'm going to say 31-24. I'm going to give the Steelers the benefit of the doubt that Rodgers starts calling some of his own stuff at the end, like he did last week with Freiermuth, and give them that opportunity to be with at least within 7. So there you go. Nick and I and Matt have taken the Packers. Everyone else has taken the Steelers. You got a while to wait. Sunday Night Football. We're going to take our break for the top of the hour. A lot coming up on hour 2 of the Sports Voice. Don't go away.
Feeling lucky? Your next big jackpot is waiting for you. Visit the casino at Nemacolin in Farmington, PA for the ultimate casino experience featuring the hottest table games, daily promotions, big-time giveaways, and an exciting variety of premium slots. And after, celebrate your big win with a juicy burger at the Royale while you watch the big game. Hotel packages available. Visit CasinoNemacolin.com for more information. The Casino at Nemacolin. Game on. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Your local station, WMBS Uniontown.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick. Day 23 of the government shutdown. The focus is on federal workers missing their pay. CBS's Caitlin Huey-Burns has the latest from Capitol Hill.
Because there is no movement on this short-term resolution that they've been voting over and over again. You have both parties putting forward proposals to pay different sectors kind of in piecemeal. And we've not seen any success with any of those yet.
The Republican plan has already failed in a vote today. President Trump has scrapped plans to deploy federal agents to San Francisco.
To the companies that are there that are all working, and those are the people that asked me, could you do away with the surge and let's see how it works. And we'll do that. If we need to, we'll do it. But it's possible that we won't need to, and we will be focusing on other places like Chicago.
Matt Bigler reports there were protests this morning ahead of the expected deployment.
The Border Patrol literally arrived with a bang in the Bay Area. Agents setting off flashbang grenades to disperse a large crowd blocking the entrance to a Coast Guard base.
It was loud, it hurt people's ears. The people who were closer were coughing and saying that they were having trouble breathing.
At least 2 protesters suffered minor injuries. Rabbi Kat Zavis says they plan to continue standing up for immigrant rights, even if President Trump's planned surge of federal forces to San Francisco is being called off.
So we are here to protect people, regardless of what Trump says.
Matt Bigler for CBS News, Oakland, California.
Peter King reports some prominent NBA names are among the more than 30 people arrested this morning in 2 separate gambling probes.
The indictments are for allegedly rigged poker games, partly run by organized crime. Former athletes were used to attract starstruck but unsuspecting bettors. U.S. Attorney Joseph Nocella on the big names arrested.
Chauncey Billups, who at the time of the scheme was a former NBA player and is currently the head coach of the Portland Trailblazers. And also Damon Jones, a former NBA player and coach.
A second probe involves betting on NBA games based on confidential information. Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier among those indicted. He was arrested in Orlando this morning.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio is the latest administration official to travel to Israel in support of the Gaza peace plan. CBS's Holly Williams.
That ceasefire has held more or less for more than 13 days now, although at times it has appeared to be teetering on the brink of collapse.
Asked today about a symbolic vote by Israel's parliament to annex the West Bank, President Trump said they're not going to do anything with the West Bank. On Wall Street, at the closing bell, stocks were higher, the Dow up 144. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Take the fact book.
Caring for an aging parent or a loved one with medical needs? FACT, Fayette Area Coordinated Transportation, can help. Seniors 65 and older ride free on our fixed routes. People with disabilities get discounted shared rides. And if your loved one has medical assistance, their trips to doctors or treatment are covered under the shared ride program. Give them safe, reliable independence and yourself peace of mind. Call 724-628-RIDE or visit factbus.com. FACT, your community, your connection.
Concerned about your heart health? At WVU Medicine, we believe your heart deserves world-class care, close to home and always within reach. Our non-invasive cardiology team uses advanced tests like stress tests and cardiac MRI to diagnose and monitor heart conditions without surgery. Call 877-WVU, the number 4HRT, or visit wvumedicine.org/heart.
Far out find has astronomers excited, as Jennifer Kuiper reports.
Astronomers at Penn State say they've discovered a new super-Earth orbiting a star some 20 light-years away. Suvrat Mahadevan, co-author of the discovery, says GJ251c could potentially host extraterrestrial life.
This planet kind of lies in that just right Goldilocks zone where, given the right atmosphere, you could have a liquid water ocean on it.
A super-Earth is any planet that is a few times the mass of the Earth. The discovery was published in the Astronomical Journal. Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
Bon Jovi is hitting the road next year. The band has announced a very limited 7-night summer tour. The Forever Tour kicks off with 4 nights at New York's Madison Square Garden before the band heads to Edinburgh, Scotland, Dublin, and London. It will be the band's first run of show in almost 4 years. I'm Cammie McCormick, CBS News.
Did you know that you have a choice for your physical therapy provider? NovaCare Rehabilitation offers same-day appointments, and oftentimes you don't need a prescription from your doctor to see us. We will make sure that you are treated as an individual and will work directly one-on-one with you to help achieve your goals. You have tried the rest, now try the best. NovaCare, Delaware Avenue in Uniontown. Phone 724-437-0556 to schedule your appointment today.
Are you looking to list or sell your house? Now is the time to let the professionals at Caldwell Banker Laurel Ridge Realty help you with all of your real estate needs. Caldwell Banker Laurel Ridge Realty has 2 convenient locations to better serve you. In Uniontown area, 724-437-7100, or in Connellsville area, 724-628-7200, and speak with one of our real estate professionals. Visit our website, caldwellbanker.com. We have been proudly serving Western Pennsylvania area for over 30 years and look forward to helping you with all of your real estate needs. Broker Paul Borges Jr.
The award-winning local, district, and statewide news is being brought to you by Ultimate Structures, offering customized sheds, cabins, and metal buildings. Ultimate Structures is ready to design what you desire. Call today, 724-415-0020.
And good afternoon, 5:06 on this Thursday. I'm Nick Barczyk from the Davis & Davis Studios in downtown Uniontown. Davis & Davis attorneys at law voted Fayette County's best law firm 2024. 48 degrees at your local station. The Weather Watch and sports on the way. People in Pennsylvania are being alerted to a new scam targeting those who receive SNAP benefits. The Pennsylvania Department of Human Services said this week that SNAP clients are receiving calls from several phone numbers saying that benefits are on hold until eligibility can be verified by calling a number and providing a PIN. DHS says those calls are a scam and people should not give out their personal information. Anyone who receives a scam call should call the Department of Human Services fraud tip line at 1-844-347-8477. The opening of the annual Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program, or LIHEAP, will be delayed in Pennsylvania until December due to the federal government shutdown. The release says the program will be delayed until December 3rd because the Department of Human Services has not yet received its federal allocation for 2025-26 LIHEAP funds. It was previously scheduled to start November 3rd. The program assists qualified Pennsylvanians who need help paying their home heating bills during the winter months. On average, Pennsylvanians receive more than $215 million every year for LIHEAP. WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital welcomed new medical director and specialist to Orthopedic Center. Dr. Justin Zenner is the medical director of orthopedics and will lead a new team of specialties. Dr. Zenner brings years of experience and advanced training in a wide range of areas like general orthopedic, shoulder, elbow, and knee surgery, and sports medicine. In addition to Zenner, Uniontown Hospital recently welcomed Dr. Peter Howard and Dr. Jeffrey Manway. And some recent lottery winners say they used AI to pick their numbers.
2 Powerball players, one in Virginia, the other in Michigan, say they used ChatGPT to pick their 6-figure prize-winning numbers. Since then, more AI-powered apps have popped up, advertising to analyze previously played numbers and any patterns in drawings. It should be noted that none of them promise a lottery win. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
Sports and weather next on WMBS.
Josh Krysak here with Ron Romeo from Ultimate Structures outside of Perryopolis. Ron, is it true that at Ultimate Structures you can customize sheds and metal buildings to meet your client needs?
Absolutely, Josh. Each manufacturer that I represent offers an on-site design program to develop the building of your needs.
What kind of enhancements and options are available for those looking for a new shed or metal building?
We basically start out with a model without options. The customer chooses a style and size. There's hundreds of options available to design what works best for the customer's needs.
When you're ready to take your storage building game to the next level, call Ultimate Structures at 724-415-0020. Ultimate Structures, just outside of Perryopolis. They design what you desire.
In sports on the way tomorrow night, C.R. Parada Group High School Sports Night, Sprouse Insurance Group pregame is on the air at 6, games at 7. Laurel Highlands at Thomas Jefferson on the radio and video. Weirton, West Virginia at Albert Gallatin on the video. Both games that kick off at 7. Sprouse Insurance Group pregame show at 6. Triple Live scoreboard show after the games Friday on WMBS. Steelers taking on Green Bay as underdogs at Acrisure Stadium. Looking to go to 5-2 are the Steelers. That's Sunday night at 8 o'clock on WMBS. Wide receiver Calvin Austin will be able to play coming back from injury. Penguins at the Florida Panthers tonight at 6 o'clock with the pregame. And the World Series begins. Blue Jays-Dodgers Game 1 from Toronto Friday night.
The local district and statewide news was brought to you by Ultimate Structures, just outside of Perryopolis on Route 51 southbound. Call them today at 724-415-0020 to find the shed, cabin, or metal building that meets your needs.
This weather report being brought to you by Montgomery Medical. Trust their 50 years of combined experience for the best results in primary care, newborns to elderly, minor illness or injury, as well as wellness and physical exams. And now the weather.
And we are looking at 48 degrees outside of our Davis & Davis studios under cloudy skies. Overnight low 37, 52 Friday, 36 overnight Friday, Saturday at 55, 58 on Sunday with sun, chance of rain 56 Monday, Tuesday at 53, and 58 with rain Wednesday. Right now cloudy and 48 degrees at 5:11 on this Thursday. Good afternoon from the Davis & Davis studios. I'm Nick Barczyk. Stock report in the second hour of the Sports Voice with Dave Dunaway on WMBS.
This weather report was brought to you by Montgomery Medical, a family tradition of family medicine. Same-day appointments available for acute care. Call 724-569-8100 or visit montibed.com to schedule your appointment.
It's time to play. Live Casino is the entertainment destination for fun every day. Play our slots and table games with non-stop action. Join our exciting monthly promotions and events at the Live Poker Room. Have your next lunch or dinner party at our award-winning restaurants. Get fantastic perks as a Live Rewards member. Come into Live Casino and experience the excitement for yourself. Live Casino, Route 30 at the Westmoreland Mall. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This stock report is brought to you by Jason Scott, South Union Township Supervisor. Jason is a local business leader and is also a friend, committed to serving South Union Township and beyond with community-minded work, projects, and programs.
Good evening. This is Tim Brown of Janney Montgomery Scott here in Uniontown, bringing you today's closing stock market report. Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 144.2 points, closing at 46,735. The NASDAQ Composite was up 201.4 points, closing at 22,942. And the S&P 500 Index was up 39 points, closing at 6,738. Among companies of local interest, Apple closed at $259.58, up $1.13. Amazon, $221.09, up $3.14. Cisco, $70.27, down 39 cents. Boeing, $217.70, up $1.11. Caterpillar, $520.38, up $6.47. Disney, $113.02, down 6 cents. ExxonMobil, $115.95, up $1.24. First Energy, $46.51, down 78 cents. Johnson & Johnson, $192.48, down 46 cents. Home Depot, $385.03, down $3.94. Intel, $38.16, up $1.24. McDonald's, $307.04, down $3.07. Meta Platforms, $734, up 59 cents. PNC Financial Services, $181.95, up 75 cents. Raytheon Technologies, $179.43, up $1.45. Rockwell Automation, $357.05, up $6.75. Tesla, $448.95, up $10.01. Verizon, $38.40, down $1.40. And Walmart closed at $106.86, down 28 cents. Recapping, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 144.2 points, closing at 46,735. The NASDAQ Composite was up 201.4 points, closing at 22,942. And the S&P 500 Index was up 39 points, closing at 6,738. From the Uniontown office, Janney Montgomery Scott, member FINRA, NYSE, SIPC, where we serve all of your investment needs. This is Tim Brown.
You don't fix what's not broken. That's true. You don't replace what is working well. Jason Scott is doing a good job working as South Union Township Supervisor. Jason Scott utilizes his skills on a daily basis in the township office. Whether repairing storm drains, operating a plow truck, or working with his fellow supervisors on economic growth, Jason Scott is out there working for you all day, every day. Let's keep experience and integrity in the township. Keep Jason Scott, full-time South Union Township Supervisor.
Paid for by the candidate.
This stock report was brought to you by South Union Township Supervisor Jason Scott. A proven leader and a trusted neighbor and friend, Jason is busy making sure the needs of South Union Township residents are addressed and is committed to serving you.
One of the most incredible architectural masterpieces in the United States is right here in Fayette County. And this fall is your chance to see the work being done to preserve this national treasure as work continues to fortify Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water. a world-famous work of architecture that's on the UNESCO World Heritage List. Falling Water invites you to Fayette County Appreciation Day on Sunday, November 23rd to see their multi-year historic preservation effort in action, in addition to the always breathtaking home itself. Falling Water is offering free tours for Fayette County residents on Sunday, November 23rd. Book your free tour of Falling Water in advance by calling 724-329-8501. Falling Water's Preservation in Action tours will take place between 9:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. Be sure to make your reservation in advance and don't miss your chance to witness this once-in-a-lifetime preservation tour of Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water.
Say hello to fall. Your flair, your way. Strap, 34 South Street in downtown Uniontown, located in the State Farm Building rear. We're known for our distinguished Western, Southwest, and boho accessories, including custom and concealed carry handbags. But we offer a large variety of fashionable styles. And just refreshed for fall, we have an amazing selection of spiny oyster, turquoise, nickel silver, copper, and gemstone fun fashion jewelry. And we're so excited to bring you affordable indulgence. 24% lead crystals wrapped in tarnish-free silver and gold wire for enhanced clarity, brilliance, and sparkle. These bracelets, pendants, earrings, and bands are stunning and show-stopping, to say the least. Strap, 34 South Street in downtown Uniontown, 724-557-6184. Open Tuesday through Friday, 11 to 5. Not high-end, just nice-end. Strap, you're sure to adore us, and you'll love our prices.
On Friday, October 24th from 6 to 8 p.m., the Fayette County African American History and Cultural Center will host a Black Business Reception at the East End United Community Center at 150 Cool Springs Street in Uniontown. This free public event will bring together Black business leaders from across Fayette County for an evening of networking, community building, and celebration. Guests can also enjoy door prizes, basket giveaways, and refreshments throughout the evening. To learn more or to register your business, email norma.thomas13@gmail.com or call 215-880-4718.
Wow, your dog looks beautiful. We went to Mutts on Market Street, the new dog grooming salon in downtown Brownsville. Samantha, the owner, has over 10 years dog grooming experience. They work with any dog, any breed, any size.
Didn't it cost a fortune?
No, the prices are great. They offer a full line of grooming and other services.
With warm weather, now's the time to schedule an appointment for your furry friends. Mutts on Market Street, downtown Brownsville, next to Hope Park. For more information, visit Mutts on Market Street on Facebook. Mutts on Market Street will be open during the Market Street repairs.
Your local station, 590 WMBS. I hear voices in my head.
Welcome to part 2 of the Sports Voice. Ahead on this hour, your Pittsburgh Penguins. Are they too good at this point? Like, I don't know what I want out of this team. I watch them. I love it when they score. I start thinking, and they're never going to get Gavin McKenna now. Like, is Dan Muse too good right now for this Pittsburgh Penguin team? Should we have waited a year? Should we tank this year, left Sullivan in there, and then made this decision a year from now? I don't know where I want to go with this, but the Penguins are 5-2. They're playing the Stanley Cup defending champions tonight, the Florida Panthers in Florida. Actually, two-time defending Stanley Cup champions. So we'll see how they fare against a team bigger, older, more physical. We'll see exactly what the Penguins can bring to the table in this game. Maybe to get a little more indication as to what the foreseeable future is going to bring. Are we nearing the end of the run for Ben Kindle and Harrison Brunick? Will they be sent back to juniors, or will they stay with this team? We don't know. Honestly, we're 7 games in. Each has gotten a day off, so they've got 6 games apiece. We're not certain yet whether they're going to stay or go. And if they go, who would come up and take their place? I've got some suggestions if that happens, but a lot will remain to be seen. Major League Baseball getting ready for the World Series. Yes, tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, Game 1. 3 small market teams out of 4 made it to the championship series. Of course, the one large market team there is in the World Series. But, hey, it's the Dodgers. It's okay. We expect that. Shohei Ohtani, maybe the best player of our generation. Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers going to Toronto How'd Toronto get the home game? And did the American League win the All-Star game? Is that still a thing? Is that how is this the case? But
they had a better record than the Dodgers by a game this year.
Hey, Toronto not too shabby either. Going to start rookie Trey Yasevich in the first game. How nice would it be if you were talking about the World Series and you said, hey, rookie Paul Skeens is going to start in the first game. Or at any point, hey, Paul Skeens, while he's still wearing black and gold, is going to be starting in the first game of the World Series. But, of course, we know that's not going to happen. But this is the sort of big versus small, the David Goliath type matchup. Milwaukee out, Seattle out. Seattle had that series looked like in hand and then ended up blowing 2 in a row at the very end. So, it should be interesting. This is when I'm going to start watching baseball because I haven't really watched much up to this point. I think after you watch 162 games of what comes out at PNC Park,
don't do that.
It's hard to keep your interest level up for whatever's coming after that. I do watch the Dodgers occasionally. I actually get the channels the Dodgers are on, unlike the people in this area who had MLB Network taken away and whatever else was removed from their cable. So I get to see the Dodgers maybe a little more than a lot of people do. They're good. I don't care for the bottom of the lineup, but there were a few games the bottom of the lineup is what got them a win. So those are a bunch of guys that know how to perform in the postseason. At this point, I'll take it. And of course, Toronto, they've got sort of a mash unit of offense as well, hoping to see Bo Bichette back for the World Series. So we'll talk a little baseball with you. College football, I know everyone in the area is super excited for the Pitt Panthers. Another big win this weekend over Syracuse, who lost most of their team. But hey, a W's a W. I heard other teams that play in that same stadium say that. So, Pitt, where are they headed by the end of this season? And of course, Penn State taking the loss to Iowa by 1 point. They were competitive. They didn't look like they were just going through the motions. Of course, you had to watch them on Peacock if you wanted to watch them. Streaming service was what was going to show that game. But, in the end, another loss. They've got number 1 Ohio State at Ohio State next weekend. They're off this week, so should be a difficult outing, I'm guessing, for the Nittany Lions as we move through the rest of this stretch. And West Virginia, not a warm homecoming for Rich Rod.
No.
West Virginia riddled with injuries, but still looking consistently like one of the worst teams in college football. And don't forget, all you Pitt fans, you lost to them. So just keep that in the back of your mind as well.
Yeah.
And of course, the National Football League, we will go through and look at a lot of the things that happened this past week, and we'll preview the rest of the games. We've made our first pick. I revealed everyone's pick for the Steeler-Packer game. You'll have to look on Facebook to find everybody's pick for the rest of them. But Nick and I, because we consistently pick on TV week in and week out, we will be making our picks at the end of the show for every game. Not as many this week with the bye week situation. I'm sure if you play fantasy football, you're nervous because this is one of the first big bye weeks as we move through this middle of the season for the National Football League. Nick wants to do his NBA roundup as well because a lot of coaches and players from the NBA are getting arrested because apparently there's been a lot of illegal betting happening with the National Basketball Association. So I wonder if that'll extend into the WNBA. I hope not.
Oh, God, no.
But you feel free to incorporate both if you want to.
Sure.
When you do your roundup. The NBA season has started, so it's time to do the roundup. And in case you missed it, the WNBA season has ended. I don't know if anybody noticed, but that happened somewhere. I couldn't tell you when. I would have to pay attention to know that. Regardless of the fact, we'll start with hockey. The Pittsburgh Penguins in action tonight. Should be a fun one to watch. They're the two-time defending Stanley Cup champions. Actually, Florida's been in the last 3 Stanley Cup finals. So you talk about a team not very well rested, that would be the Florida Panthers. They're big, they're tough, they can score goals, they can do literally everything. But the Penguins have been a very pleasant surprise to this point of the season. And honestly, it doesn't matter if they put Shilovs or Jari in. They've both held their own. Not that there's significant changes. We're seeing production coming from the bottom 2 lines. Connor Dewar has 2 goals, which is impressive in its own right. We've seen some production out of that third line. Even Tommy Novak found a way to score a goal, someone that I've bashed relentlessly on here. Anthony Mantha has 3. Brazo has 5. So you start looking at some of these players that were, just kind of late additions for the Penguins, really under the radar type guys who have been big time producers at this point for the Pittsburgh Penguins. We've seen some milestones. We're going to see more milestones for the Penguins. We saw the 600th career assist from Chris Letang reached in the game just a couple of days ago over Vancouver. Crosby's 5 points away from 1,700 or something like that. So there's a lot still to come as you start looking at these guys in the tail end of their career. A lot of excitement coming from the Pittsburgh Penguins early in the season. They have 15 points right now. They have 10 points right now. They're 5-2-0. They are tied for second place in the Metro, 2 points behind New Jersey, tied with Carolina. I mean, these are the two teams everyone was projecting to be the top of this division. The Penguins were projected to be at the bottom. They got rid of Mike Sullivan. You got a new coach. You're talking about rebuilding. There's that sort of underlying thought that some of these guys, like maybe Rust and Raquel, are going to be gone by the trade deadline. You start looking at the just ages of the superstars. You don't really expect a whole lot. I think it's been a very pleasant surprise up to this point. But then you start asking yourself, where do you want this to go? What do you want to see happen? Does this look like a legitimate playoff contender? If they make the playoffs, can they win there? Or is this a team that's just making one last run at something with the core 3, and then they start the rebuild next year? Honestly, if you're thinking rebuild, why wouldn't you think it now? I mean, if you don't look at this team and say this is a clear-cut Stanley Cup contender, then why go through the motions? Why play the game to just see what you can accomplish? Because every win you get puts you one step further away from this rebuild that you're looking to do, puts you one step further away from the opportunity to draft Gavin McKenna. And it's not as easy as it used to be. Not that it was easy to get Mario Lemieux. There was a lot that had to be done to make sure they lost games down the stretch. Of course, they'll never admit that, but we know how that all worked itself out. But in the end, it's much more difficult with this lottery. But you need to look forward. If this team is going to be competitive, if they are going to be a Stanley Cup contender, it's probably not going to be with the guys that they currently have. But I can't help myself from watching the games and wanting to see this team win. Remember, this is the only team in Pittsburgh I actually like. This is the one team closest to my house that I sit and root for. So I can't sit there and not want them to win. But then I think younger players, why are they in Wilkes-Barre? Wilkes-Barre, by the way, tearing up right now. But you start to ask yourself, could these guys play at this level? And if you think that they can, is now the time to give them that opportunity, to give them that shot at this opportunity? Like I'm looking, we got 5 games in at Wilkes. Danton Heinen's there, and that's not a guy I want to see clearly on this roster. He was waived and no one claimed him. He's got 8 points in 5 games, only 2 goals. But then you see Koivunen, you see Atlee Calvert, you see Tristan Brose, who has 3 goals. Calvert has 4 up to this point. Sam Poulin is down there. Like there needs to come a time where you give these guys an opportunity. Avery Hayes has 3 goals. He could very easily fit onto the 3rd or 4th line for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And it's hard to say that now because you are seeing production from those lines. But I guess what I'm trying to say is when that production ends and the minuses start to rack up, I hope the Penguins aren't shy to pull the trigger on bringing some of these other players up and onto this roster because they need to get that experience. And I think enough of them have been in the minors for enough time at this point that clearly it's time to give them an opportunity. The team is 5-0 in Wilkes-Barre. Sergei Murashov, the goaltender of the future, is 4-0 with a 1.75 goals against average. So we're getting close to where he's going to be knocking on the door and ready. And hopefully there's a plan in place. The other question is, what do you do with Kindle and Brunick? They were able to keep them on the roster for 9 games, basically free of charge. They didn't have to worry about anything with the juniors. They can go back, and other teams do that. We saw them play San Jose the other day. They have Misa, the second-round pick. He's up there playing, probably going to get sent back as well. So we know that's a reality in the NHL, but I mean, I think they've played very well. They've both scored goals. To me, I think they've earned an opportunity to stay on this roster. And if you do send them back, who comes up? Do you just do what's easy and bring up Heinen and Graves? Or do you actually bring a Koivunen or a Tristan Brose or an Avery Hayes or a Calvert? Do you bring those guys up and let them play? Pickering, get them some more NHL experience under their belt. I guess in the end, it all comes down to where you think this team is going to go. Do you think this is a team that can make the playoffs? If you do, then yeah, you're going to bring the veterans up. But if you don't, then it's time to start infusing this young talent. And in some cases, it might help the older guys to get someone younger and faster that can actually play at their level. And it's time to find out. They've got 300 draft picks in the next 3 years. If these guys don't work out, then you've got to spend those draft picks a little more wisely as you're going through and trying to find the pieces that are going to make this team relevant again. They've missed the playoffs the last couple of years. They've been old. They've been slow, especially down the stretch. And a lot of the players that disappointed in the past are still here. So hopefully they are doing the right things. All the credit in the world to Dan Muse. Definitely overachieving from where we thought he would be. And to the GM as well, I guess. Brazo, Shilovs. I mean, these aren't guys I thought were going to come and contribute in any way, and they have up to this point. So far, so good. I'm happy with what I'm seeing, Nick. 5-2 competitive. We'll see what happens tonight in Florida.
Yeah, absolutely. A tough test from, you're right, an old tire team that's played a lot of games the last few years. They've gone back-to-back like the Penguins did about a decade ago. Yeah, I'm not sure what most fans want out of this team. It's an odd season. Do you try to win? Do you move on? Do you break up the nostalgia act? I mean, Crosby looks fine. Malkin's out there. So, yeah, I mean, Dan Muse, so you like overall what they're doing? I mean, is this the direction you want to see them go in?
Well, they're winning.
They're winning, exactly.
I don't know how they're winning.
Good for you.
That's kind of the thing. Like, I look at these guys and I'm like, Brazo, Dewar, Lazat.
Brazo's been great.
And I say to myself, how are they winning? How are these? But they're doing it. As long as they continue to score and they continue to win, I'm going to lay off a lot of these guys that I don't think belong on the roster because based on how they're playing right now, they do belong on the roster.
Yeah, I mean, the results speak for themselves, and even if they're not guys you thought would be good, if they are and they're winning games, great. It's so early in the season, it's hard to get a gauge, but, 10 points early going, and, you can't be dissatisfied with that if you want them to win, which I'm not sure if every fan wants them to this year, but is it a bridge year? Remember when Neil Huntington threw out the bridge term for the Pirates?
Well, the Pirates would have, like, bridge decades.
Yeah. Centuries, it
seems.
Well,
centuries, at this point.
It seems.
This might be the bridge century right now.
A bridge century.
Yeah, get ready for the 22nd century.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I want, I guess. Like, I look at this and I'm like, okay, this is great, but there's nothing sustainable coming from this. This is not a team you're going to keep together and win a ton of games with in the future. But then you think to yourself, well, this is Malkin's last year. Could be Letang's last year. Maybe it'd be nice to see them make a little run one last time. As much as people talk about breaking up the nostalgia, it's going to be a tough day when that actually happens, I think, for a lot of people in Pittsburgh. So, I'm kind of torn with what I want to see. I want to see what's best for the organization. I guess I'm not real sure what that is at this point, if it's to win this year and, try to capitalize on something one last time or to start building for the future. But I look at Wilkes, they're 5-0. There's some young talent there that I think could be NHL talent as well. Maybe the Penguins are in a little better shape with the youth than I thought they were coming in. You'll have some draft picks next year. You've got a ton to trade. If you want to put restricted free agent offers out there, you can do that with all your draft picks. So there's things that can be done. I guess it's just a matter to wait and see what their plans are and what their thoughts are. They made a good decision in parting ways with Sullivan. Not that he was a terrible coach. He was just, like I say about Tomlin all the time, he was just outdated for what he wanted to do, and he didn't have the personnel to do it, and he didn't want to do anything else. So it was time to bring in something new, and so far so good. That has worked better than I think anyone thought it was going to. 7 games into the season. So Penguins, Panthers tonight. This could be a telling tale for early in the season if they can knock them off. They're only 4-4 8 points. They're actually worse than the Penguins right now. They've played one more game than them. So we'll see how this plays itself out. And as we move through the season, we'll see whether or not this team starts to get real tired real fast based on their age. Switching over to Major League Baseball, the World Series is going to start tomorrow night, Nick. And I know, with everything on TV, that's probably going to be your first choice. And it might be for me as well because it's the Dodgers. And I know people are tired of them. And you get annoyed because they buy their team. And I can say that pretty much. When you go through this roster on the Dodgers, there are very few homegrown talents that are there.
It's bought.
There were always a few that were around. And you got Will Smith, you got Pius, you got a couple of them. But for the most part, they're all bought and paid for. Yep. The pitching staff is all bought and paid for. So is the lineup. But in the end, at least they spend their money wisely and well, because Shohei Ohtani, one of the guys they bought a few years ago, is by far and away the best player in baseball, maybe the best player of this generation. And to see the performance that he put out there against Milwaukee to get the Dodgers into the World Series, 3 home runs, and he pitched that game and had 10 strikeouts. There's nobody better than him right now in baseball. And I'm not saying a team can ride one guy through the World Series, but Snell is healthy. Boy, if they'd have had him all year, they probably would have home field advantage right now in the World Series. You've got Yamamoto pitching out of his mind, Glasnow back and healthy and pitching well. You don't even need to worry about the fact that your bullpen isn't that good, because most of the time you're not even getting to that bullpen. Good thing Derek Shelton's not there with the clicker, taking these guys out after the 5th inning. But you look at the hitting bets, and you start going down that lineup, it's like murderer's row. They have the talent to win. Toronto, it's a great story. Bo Bichette's been out. They've still won. They've still made it to the World Series without him. Seattle, I think, would have been a better opponent with Raleigh and Rodriguez and some of those guys. Toronto has Vladdy. They have Springer if they get Bichette back. But you're starting a rookie, Trey Yasevich, who hasn't even played all year in Game 1. That's a telling sign against Blake Snell. And then you still have Yamamoto. And then you still have Glasnow. I think pitching could be the factor in this World Series. The Blue Jays can hit, but so can the Dodgers. Even if that's a wash, I think the Dodgers have the advantage on the mound.
Dave, really respected, trusted baseball people who've been around, who know their stuff, say, we've never seen anything like that, what Ohtani did the other night. It was just, you couldn't even believe it. You couldn't take your eyes off it. He is our Babe Ruth. He is that special, and the Dodgers are an all-star team, and you can say they bought and paid for it, but you're right. They spend their money wisely. They're well-run. They've gotten over the McCourt disaster. And with trusted manager Dave Roberts, the Dodgers well on their way to their 2nd straight World Championship, Dave. Good luck, Toronto. You're going to need it. Hopefully George Springer hits a home run every at-bat.
Well, that does contradict, I guess, everything I said in the first hour, because the Dodgers have proven, even with an inept manager, you can still win something.
Well, managing in baseball not nearly as important as head coaching in football. I think you'd agree. But,
no, I agree.
Yeah, but yeah, they have a loaded lineup, and situationally, are they great? Bullpen, is that great? No, but when you have a freak like Ohtani, and they're an all-star lineup, I mean, Betts and Freeman, they're just up and down. The Hernandezes, and you say what you want about the bottom of the lineup, they're probably going to win their 2nd straight world title, so good for them.
And is it Mark Wagner? Is that the crew chief, the umpire for the World Series? So it's not a robot. It's an actual person.
It's a man. That's good.
Hopefully.
Last year for that, you think? For human umpires in the World Series?
Well, I don't know about behind home plate. Maybe that might change, but I think there'll be humans out there on the bases. But I look for Major League Baseball. You know, we talk about how slow it is already. I look for replay to expand even more. Once you bring that technology that's capable of overturning things out there, I think when you get into games like the World Series, you're going to have more opportunities for coaches to use replay because you don't want an error of judgment by an official to be the reason why a team wins or loses. At least get it right, and I can see them expanding on that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Getting it right is a priority number one, and speeding up the game and making it more exciting, having it flow a bit. They've done that. And the Dodgers will get a big rating. Not sure about the Blue Jays, but Dodgers will. So I'm excited for this series. I think the Dodgers win it in 5 or 6, but I'm excited for it.
I want to see the Canada ratings for this World Series, because remember, during COVID, the Blue Jays played in Buffalo, so they didn't even have them for a whole season up there.
All I can say is, oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Yes, well, your Rays might be heading up to Canada to play in Montreal at some point, depending on how that new stadium works out for them.
Would they be the Montreal Rays Expos or the Montreal Expos Rays?
The Expo Rays.
Expo Rays.
I love that. The Expo Rays, yeah.
Oh, I missed the Expos.
Another story from Major League Baseball. This is the first time ever, I believe, a manager from college, from the NCAA, gets a managerial job in Major League Baseball with no Major League Baseball experience. Tony Vitello, the manager of Tennessee, who's won a couple of national championships there, the new manager named this week of the San Francisco Giants. I like that. That's outside the box. It's not recycling the same old, same old. I like the players that are like a year removed. I can't wait till Albert Pujols becomes the manager of the San Diego Padres. But I like this too. I think this is great. We can see how well college transitions into Major League Baseball. Because we know when the Pirates draft kids out of college, they have a real tough time transitioning to Major League Baseball. Yeah. Let's see if it changes with the manager.
Well, this is great. Good for him. He was offered this job. He had to take it. That's a great offer to be a Major League manager after winning at the NCAA level, and good for them. And
he's a younger guy, too. He's younger than me, I think.
Oh, my God.
47 or something
younger
like that.
Younger than you. That's not possible.
If he's 47, he's younger than me. So that's impressive in its own right. So Major League Baseball making some positive news, which is great because you don't always see that. Blake Snell will start in Game 1 for the Dodgers. That's tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. College football, we'll do it very quickly because we want to get back to the NFL because that's all anyone cares about toward the end of October. Looking ahead to this week, we saw some upsets last week, and I think that's kind of been the trend. Like, I don't know, Nick, like you probably pay more attention to college football than me, even though Nick's running out of the room right now. Are we at a point where Ohio State is like the team? And literally anybody else can be beat any week. I mean, we saw Miami get upset. I mean, anybody who gets that number 2 spot seems to really have a tough time with it. Indiana has it right now with newly paid Curt Cignetti as the head coach there. They're playing UCLA, the bane of Penn State. You know, how tough is it going to be for them to hang on to this and their undefeated mark? Because that seems to be almost a death sentence in college football this year.
It's Ohio State, and then everyone else. There's a drop-off after that, Dave. And, yeah, Indiana has number 2 for now, but could they go the way of Texas or Penn State? Maybe. It's been a weird year in college football.
Georgia Tech's in the top 10, undefeated. Ole Miss is in the top 10. They're number 5 in the country. Like, you start looking at this, you're like, what?
It's Ohio State's world.
Alabama's up to 4 again.
Yeah, and have an easy game this week. So, yeah, it's been a weird year for sure. Been fun. I've watched more college football than normal. I still love watching the SEC. The Big Ten is really good. So, Notre Dame won the other day. It was great. It's fun times.
Yeah, and in LSU, like you start looking at teams that have struggled with, potential. Penn State, Texas, LSU, like start going down that list of teams that have, almost on the verge of dropping out or have dropped out of the top 25. So, yeah, there's a lot happening. What about Pitt? Who's Pitt play this week?
They play NC State. Hey, they beat Florida State last week, right? Or the week before?
Well, last week they played Syracuse. The week before they beat Florida State.
Yeah, good for them.
But you still have the Louisville game that they had in hand and could not win.
No.
And of course, how could we possibly forget the backyard brawl?
Oof.
That, to me, says Pitt doesn't deserve to be anywhere. When you lose to that team, who was riddled with injuries then, just like they're riddled with injuries now, that tells me Pitt's going nowhere fast. But hey, people are getting excited in the weakened ACC. Maybe they have a chance to win that conference. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll go back to the NFL. We'll look at the week that was, week 7, and look ahead to week 8. Nick and I will make our picks live on TV here on the Sports Voice. Don't go anywhere.
Bad hair day? Bad day at the office? Bad day behind the wheel? Hey, stuff happens, even to the best of us. At least your car insurance rate doesn't have to take a hit. Get Erie Rate Lock from Erie Insurance. Gives you a great rate that stays put until you change a car, driver, or your address. Plus, seriously good service. Now that's something to smile about.
Your Erie agent in Uniontown and Ross Traver Township is Sprowls Insurance Group, 724-437-9812, or go to sprowlsinsurance.com.
Erie Rate Lock does not guarantee continued insurance coverage and is not available in all
Again,
states.
voted best in Fayette Private School and one of the best preschools, St. John the Evangelist Regional Catholic School is a highly respected Catholic school. Its one-on-one initiative and newly created STEM lab keeps students up to date with the latest technology. The administration and faculty are well qualified and dedicated to the success of each child. To learn more about St. John the Evangelist Regional Catholic School, financial aid available, or to register, please call 724-438-8598. This message has been brought to you by attorney Vincent J. Roskowensky.
Hi, I'm Maria Batista, candidate for the Pennsylvania Superior Court. As a former prosecutor, I held criminals accountable. As a judge, I will continue to uphold our criminal laws. I will keep politics out of the courtroom and ensure equal treatment under the law for all Pennsylvanians. I hope I can count on your vote for me, Maria Batista, for Superior Court on Tuesday, November 4th, or by mail-in ballot. This ad was paid for by Batista for Judge.
For professional cleaning services, Clean and Shine in New Stanton is the place for you. They provide commercial and residential cleaning, porter services, carpet cleaning, stripping and waxing, construction cleanups, and car cleaning. For free estimates, call 724-691-0413, email info@cleanandshine14.org, or visit their website, cleanandshine14.org. We clean so you can shine.
Hey, you looking for a quality pre-owned vehicle? Well, look no more, because with over 200 vehicles, Gary's Auto Sales is the largest used car dealer in the area. Whether you want a car, a truck, or an SUV, you'll absolutely find what you're looking for at Gary's. Gary's has been in business since 1974. You can visit them online at Gary'sAutoSales.com, or you can give them a call at 724-626-8080. Gary's Auto Sales. Many miles, many smiles.
My name is Patrick Mahoney, and I'm running for South Union Township Supervisor for one reason: to serve our community, not to profit from it. As a lifelong resident, a local business owner, and a volunteer, I understand the everyday challenges that we face in our township. I believe public office is a public trust. As Township Supervisor, I will fight for open, honest government, responsible spending, and decisions that put people, not my personal business interests, first. On November 4th, vote for me, Patrick Mahoney, for South Union Township Supervisor.
Paid for by friends of Patrick Mahoney.
Hi, this is Dave Dunaway, and I'm here to remind you that Franco's Golf Center is open 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. Stop by and see Franco's facility on Route 21 west of Uniontown. Franco's service area includes a lighted driving range and golf pro shop. Even my game has improved thanks to golf lessons with Franco's PGA instructors. Franco's also offers full custom club fitting and repairs by certified club fitter Greg Franco. Franco's is open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Give Franco's a call at 724-438-6651.
If you're ready for a dental makeover or in need of basic dental care, the office of Dr. Mark Rabatin is right for you. Dr. Rabatin uses the latest advancement in the industry to achieve comprehensive care that will preserve your smile for years to come by providing general dentistry services. Call today to schedule your appointment at their modern office located in the Fayette Business Park, 724-437-4991 for the fine art of dentistry.
Welcome back to the Sports Voice. We are at the tail end of the show, just taking our final break, and it's time to go back to the National Football League and make our picks of the week. As you know, this competition between 7 of us has been happening since the beginning of the year. We pick every game with the spread, and if you are curious about the record, because I don't know what it is, it's on our Facebook page. So go to WMBS Facebook. It gets updated usually every Tuesday. So check it out, see our standings, and then our picks for this week will be up on the Facebook page tomorrow morning. So for those of you that like to follow along with your favorite WMBS personalities, and me too, you can check to see how we're doing each week. Josh Kreisek has a huge lead over the rest of us. I'm trying to pull out of the pack to make some semblance of a run at him in second place, but we all have struggled. It's hard picking with the spread. If you pick just even up, it's tough. But when you start with these spreads and these numbers, it is not the easiest thing to do. If you can be anywhere near 500 at the end of the year, you have had a huge accomplishment come your way as far as picking games, as we're all finding out as we've been struggling through the year. And the NFL is so unpredictable, you don't know what happens. I mean, we're picking games this week saying, well, the Steelers usually lose to someone they should beat, and then they beat someone. I mean, that's the rationale a lot of times that you're using to pick games in the National Football League. looking back to last week, surprises, upsets, those types of things that take place. I don't think it's a surprise that New England beat Tennessee, but New England's 5-2. And if anybody should be nervous about that, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because I'm telling you, Nick, there's a legitimate chance New England wins this division, which, I mean, I would love to see for my own reasons.
Yeah.
But if New England wins this division and Pittsburgh wins their division, that means Buffalo's a wild card. And Pittsburgh could potentially beat the worst record of all the division winners, and Buffalo could have the best wild card record, which means it don't matter if it's in Pittsburgh or where it is. There is no way they're going to stop that Buffalo offense. Throwing, running, doesn't matter. The record of the Patriots should make the Steelers very, very nervous. And with Drake May at the helm, I can't see it slowing down anytime soon. And they don't have that hard of a schedule because of how bad they've been the last couple of years. So big win over Tennessee for them. The Rams in London. I mean, boy, what a disappointment for the home team in London. Boy, Jacksonville, they want that to be their second home. The Rams have no Puka. I don't think they had Tutu either. And Kyron Williams didn't do much. It was Stafford throwing the ball all over the field to Parkinson. Devontae Adams had a great game. Tyler Ferguson. Start looking at what happened there. Big win for the Rams. Big loss for Jacksonville. And I guess why I put both of those together, not only do you look at a situation that has New England and Buffalo fighting, but Jacksonville was trying to hang in there with the Colts. The Colts could run away with this South, and they've got the Steelers in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. And the NFL, it's been a wild year. The Colts have overperformed. Some teams have underperformed. Who would have thought Baker and Dak would be your front runners for MVP? It's a wild year, Dave.
Who would have thought the Browns would annihilate the Dolphins? Are the Dolphins the worst team in football right now?
Would you watch Dolphins-Jets if it was in your backyard,
Oh,
Dave?
I forgot about the Jets. Nobody's worse than the Jets. Ask the Jets owner. He'll tell you. He'll tell you how bad they are and how bad Justin Fields is.
Yes, Justin Fields, Aaron Glenn not working out, and boy, they almost beat the Steelers. Could you imagine?
That was the most competitive game they had all year.
By
Look how
far.
many they haven't scored that many points since in all the
Combined.
games combined.
Yeah, week
That's where
one's
they are.
wild. Yeah.
31-6 Browns over Dolphins. Chiefs 31-0 over the Raiders. No surprise there. I'm sure Pete Carroll will keep sticking with Geno Smith, though. Although we did see Kenny Pickett come into the game last week and fumble the first time he had the ball in his hands. But remember, Nick, his hands are tiny.
That's true.
There's no possible way he could hold it.
Don't discount the Raiders. They're also dreadful.
Jalen Hurts had a really good game, and the Eagles win 28-22 over the Vikings with maybe the last start for Carson Wentz. I can't figure this Eagles team out. They don't look like the team that won the Super Bowl last year. Even when they do something productive on offense, Barkley's been invisible most of the year, and the defense can't stop anybody.
No, it's a sieve. Like the Steelers.
Yeah. All of a sudden, the Panthers have 4 wins. Talk
Good
about
for
how bad
them.
the Jets are. They got to play the Jets.
And they
have
beat
no wins.
Dallas. Yeah, weird.
Yeah. The Giants blow. That's going to go down probably as the worst game of the year in the NFL, I think, for blowing a lead. I mean, the Denver Broncos scored 33 points in the fourth quarter to win 33-32.
That was wild. I couldn't even believe it as you're watching it. And for a Giants team that's not going to win anyway, that's one you're going to regret for years.
The Chargers look bad, but they're 4-3. I mean, they get embarrassed by the Colts, I think. The Colts, I'm surprised. I mean, Daniel Jones, you start going through, but Jonathan Taylor has been the story there. 3 touchdowns, almost 100 yards on the ground. And the Dallas Cowboys, 44-22 winners over the Commanders. Looks like Jaden Daniels going to be out for a little while. But I'll go back to what I said about the Cowboys. Who cares if they give up 22 points a game? They're scoring 40-some a game. Now CeeDee Lamb's back, 110 yards and a touchdown. Dak, 264 and 3 touchdowns. Javonte Williams, maybe the comeback player of the year in the National Football League, another 100+ on the ground and another touchdown for him. The Packers, the opponent for the Steelers this weekend, 27-23 winners over the Cardinals. The 49ers beat the Falcons 20-10 in 2 Monday Night Football games. Lions over Bucks. Mike Evans, broken collarbone. He's done. Didn't last long in his return. And Seattle, I don't know, Nick. I might have to admit they're better than I thought.
Well, that game ended at like 4 a.m. So.
Not that I watched it at all, but
No.
the Houston Texans 2-4. It's going to be tough for them at this point. All right, it is time for us to make our picks of the week. We're going to do it quick. This is for Week 8 in the NFL, starting with tonight. Vikings at Chargers. Chargers favored by 3.5.
Chargers, they'll win by a touchdown.
I will take the Chargers in that one. They gotta beat somebody halfway decent. I'll take the Chargers. Dolphins at Falcons. Falcons favored by 7.5.
Penix was awful last week, but the Dolphins are just Shrek. Give me the Falcons.
I'll take the Falcons with a good Robinson in London and an awful Penix over just an awful, in general, Dolphins team. Does Tua get benched for Ewers this week?
Yeah.
It has to
I
happen.
hope so.
I mean,
McDaniel should not be the one making that decision, but he's still there.
Agreed. Bears at Ravens. Ravens favored at home by 6.5.
Lamar's back. Ravens back. Give me Baltimore.
I took the Bears. I don't know why I took the Bears. I agree with you on that, but I'm trying to pick different things.
Yeah.
Going with the Bears. Bills at Panthers. Bills favored by 7.5.
They haven't impressed me, but I still like Buffalo. They could win this by 10. Give me the Bills.
There's no way the Panthers can have 5 wins at this point.
No.
I'm taking Buffalo. Jets at Bengals. Bengals favored by 6.5.
Jets are just, good Lord. You don't even know what to say. Bengals big.
We could go multiple weeks this year saying Flacco's facing his old team.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Bengals in this one as well. 49ers at Texans. Somehow the Texans are favored by 1.5.
McCaffrey turned back the clock the other night. Give me the Niners.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who's in the lineup for the 49ers
No.
as long as McCaffrey's there.
Mac
I'm
Jones.
taking the 49ers too. Yeah, they're winning with Mac Jones. Browns at Patriots. Patriots favored by 6.5.
Could it be a trap game? I don't think so. Give me New England.
I think it's a trap. I'm taking the Browns. I can't see New England with 6 wins right.
You're honest.
They're good. They're better than I thought they would be. I don't think this is their year. I'm going to go with the Browns to surprise them. They have a pretty good defense. Giants at Eagles. Eagles favored by 7.5.
Eagles can't lose twice to this team, and the Giants, they may unravel after that game last week. Give me the Birds.
I agree. That has to deflate them. I don't care how well they looked for most of it. I can't imagine 33 points in the fourth quarter. You recover from that. Buccaneers at Saints. Buccaneers favored by 3.5.
Bucks flat against Detroit. Lions won big, but
Right.
Even with Evans out, give me the Bucks.
Yeah, there's no sign of Godwin either. I'm taking the Saints in this one. They hang in there. I'm not saying they're going to win, but I think it's going to be close. Olave, a couple of touchdowns last week. Cowboys at Broncos. Broncos favored by 3.5.
Yeah, this will be a fun game. The Cowboys putting up points. I like Denver a lot, but I think Dallas goes in and wins. Give me the boys.
I'm taking Dallas. I don't think Denver can put up enough points to match what Dallas is going to do. And Denver's defense has looked shaky at best this year. Titans at Colts. Colts favored by 14.5.
That's a huge number in division. I know the Titans are dracked, but give me the Titans. Colts win, but huge number in division.
I'm taking the Titans too. That's like you said, that's just way too many. If Ridley comes back, I mean, he's good for at least a 50-yard catch. That might be it. I'm going with the Titans. Packers. We did that one.
Yeah.
Commanders at Chiefs. Monday Night Football. Kansas City favored by 12.5.
They're the best team in the league. Again, the Chiefs. That's also a big number, but no Daniels, no chance. Give me the Chiefs.
Yeah, we still don't have a clear-cut answer on McLaurin. We know Mariota's going to be the quarterback. What's it? Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt as the running. Like I start looking at this. They had Luke McCaffrey as the number 1 receiver last week because everybody's hurt. I'm going to go with the Chiefs with Rice. Rice looked good in his first game back. Worthy's there. Kelsey's there. But most importantly, Mahomes is there. I'm taking the Chiefs. I don't care about the 12.5. Well, there you go, everyone. Those are our picks. There are some buys this week. That's why there are less picks than what we normally have. Should be a fun week, as always, in the NFL. Can't wait for Sunday Night Football, the big revenge game for Aaron Rodgers. I guess it comes down to, Nick, will he call his own plays? If he does, the Steelers have a legit chance. If Arthur Smith's dialing them in, they might get blown out in this one.
They might. It's all up to that. I think they could be blown out. I think they hang around, but Green Bay pulls away. Sorry, Aaron.
Penguins tonight in Florida against the defending Stanley Cup champion Panthers. We've got Pitt and NC State this weekend. So a lot of football, a lot of hockey, a lot of sports action. The World Series starts tomorrow. Dodgers at Blue Jays. There'll be a ton to talk about next week. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Be back talking to you again next Thursday, 4:15 to 6.
At Pharmana Pharmacy, you're more than just a prescription. You're a part of a pharmacy that is focused on your health. That's why Pharmana Pharmacy focuses on just prescriptions. Pharmacists Jim Capuzzi and Cheryl Goodwin take the time to listen, answer your questions,